Welcome into this week's Commanders Report Mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and I love these mailbag segments that we get to do every single week because I get to hear from you guys what topics are on your mind and what topics you want me to discuss here on the show. Before we get into the questions today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because if you want to get a question on a future edition of the Commanders Report live show, or mailbag, I should say, make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us for our live shows every single Wednesday starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time every single week, where we answer your questions on the Washington Commanders, the latest whereabouts on this team. So if you want to get a question on a future edition of the Commanders Report Mailbag, click that subscribe button and join us at 5:30 p.m. every single Wednesday. First one coming in from my man Christopher Douglas says, do we bring back the old logo or not? Good question, Christopher. We talked about this on the show earlier this week, where pretty much there was a senator from Montana who is kind of holding up the RFK site confirmation for a potential new stadium to be built for the Washington Commanders at RFK, or the old RFK site. And he said he wasn't going to approve it until the NFL and the Commanders agreed to potentially have negotiations of bringing back the old logo in terms of showing it on highlights, in terms of showing it on merchandise, all that stuff. Now, just because they agreed to do that stuff doesn't mean necessarily they're going to bring it back as the team's mascot. Now, I do think it's a possibility. It's definitely not a 0% chance. Personally, I think a great compromise is to bring back the old logo and then change the name to something that everybody can agree is good. And you know, all that great stuff. Something like maybe Washington Warriors or Washington Braves or something a little bit more venerative of the Native American people than the old name maybe was. But obviously, this is an iconic sports logo, man. One of the greatest logos in all of sports. And honestly, guys, like a lot of Indian country didn't like it when the team in the NFL, took this logo away. So, I would love to see it be brought back or something with the feathers being used. I'd love to see part of this team's history being used in a future logo instead of just kind of a generic W. But I think a great compromise is to bring back the old logo or something close to it, and then bring in a new team name that everybody can rally around for this new era of football here in the D.C. area. Then we got JG coming in here, says, do you think Sinnott and McCaffrey will see more opportunities in our remaining games? It's certainly possible. I mean, these younger guys, a lot of times the way it works is that these rookies have to earn their stripes a little bit. And then when certain players, certain veterans aren't getting the job done, as the season continues, the younger guys step up, they get more opportunities. And if they do a good job in those opportunities, they continue to grow and they become full-time starters by the end of seasons. With Noah Brown dealing with a rib injury, depending how long he's out, that could provide an opportunity for McCaffrey for sure. That's certainly going to provide an opportunity for him, De'Ami Brown, and Olamide Zaccheaus for sure. But we're just going to have to see what ends up happening here. And then when it comes to Zach Ertz, his hands have been actually not great this year. Zach Ertz has had some really bad hands moments this year. I'd love to see Sinnott be used more. He's a great route runner, very good agility for his size, which is the reason why the Commanders ended up drafting him. So, yes, I would love to see McCaffrey and Sinnott get more opportunities as the season goes on. Got one from Go Vols here. Says, is Jonathan Allen going to get cut next offseason? I would say it's a possibility. He wasn't having a great season before he ended up getting injured, and now he's going to be coming off a very major injury. So I'm looking at Jonathan Allen moving forward, and, maybe they try to trade him. Maybe they can get a day 3 draft pick or something for Jonathan Allen. If not, it's certainly a possibility. If they don't see him in the long-term future of this team, that they might end up cutting him to save some cap space. You probably have to take on some dead cap, though, if I'm not mistaken, with his contract there, though, Go Vols. But it's certainly a possibility, and it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with Jonathan Allen. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. What's going to happen to him? Talking about John Allen here. Type C if you think he gets cut. Type T if you think he gets traded. Or type K if you think the Commanders are going to keep him. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know what you think is going to happen to John Allen. Going from my man Demarius Young. What's up, Demarius? Is there someone on the market we can pick up to help us on the stretch run? Somebody keep your eye on, guys. Josh Reynolds, wide receiver, formerly with the Lions last year, and then he spent the first 5 games of the year this year with Denver, and he actually played pretty well for the Broncos before he got hurt. he got a broken finger, and then he was a victim of a drive-by shooting where he got nicked in the arm and I think also in the back of the head as well. He's technically okay. He should be able to play here, if not this week and then in the future weeks to come here. But he's been on IR for a while now. Hasn't played since week 5. So he's somebody to keep in mind if you want kind of a bigger guy. If Noah Brown is going to be hurt with that rib injury for a while now, you want kind of that bigger presence to kind of replace his role in this offense. I think that his name is somebody to keep your eye on. Also, Deontay Johnson, he's having some issues right now with the Baltimore Ravens. If they end up just cutting him, I could see, he's a great route runner. He had a really good start to his season in Carolina before his season kind of got derailed there in Baltimore. I would certainly consider Deontay Johnson as a receiving option. So those are 2 names maybe to keep your eye on. But honestly, Demaryius, at this point in the season, there's not a whole lot of talent out there that's really worth picking up outside of those 2 guys, in my opinion. So before we get into the rest of the questions today, let's have a word from our sponsor here at GameTime, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. GameTime Picks is a brand new feature from our friends at GameTime, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It saves you tons of time and money. It's super easy to use, guys. You just go into the app, find an event you want to go see, select the GameTime Picks button, and it automatically filters through every single ticket in their database to find you the best deals with the best prices, with the best seats for you and your family. What I love about the GameTime app, guys, and why it's the only ticketing app I have on my phone right now is that you get the lowest prices guarantee on any ticket to any event. You also get all-in pricing, so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout. I hate when that happens, guys. And then also you get flash deals. So if you're someone like me, like to procrastinate to get your tickets, if you wait long enough to get your tickets, GameTime actually lowers the prices just before game time, so you guys can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to the event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime today. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps. ChatSports. It's right down there on the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Against terms apply, guys. It's just for that first purchase. Create an account with our friends at GameTime today and redeem code ChatSports for $20 off that first purchase. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. Got one coming in from Danny Snyder 44. Says, do the Commanders have a top 10 defense with Marshon Lattimore at QB1? It's going to be interesting to see for sure, Danny. Marshon's a very good player, and he's a great fit for Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., what they want to do. They want to play man, all right? Plain and simple. We saw that last year with the Dallas Cowboys, but because the cornerback room hasn't been that good this year, they haven't been able to play man all that often. So, I mean, when I look at a guy like Marshon Lattimore, he's going to be your true number 1 outside guy. He hasn't played in a little bit, so hopefully he's good to go. But if he is that true number 1 presence on the outside, that's going to take this defense from kind of like below average, slightly below average, whatever, to at least above average. And, any increase in your production and your ability to stop opposing offenses is going to help this team potentially win a playoff game this year. So will they get into the top 10 range here in the final 4 games with Marshon Lattimore? Only time will tell, but I do think this defense gets better with him in there. So it's certainly a good addition in my opinion. So true or false? Let me know down there in the comments section. Washington's defense is top 10 with Lattimore in as their number 1 corner. Simply give me a true or a false down there in the comments section, and don't forget to give me your reasoning why. Got one from Ebony Wright. Good to see you, Ebony. Says, do you think are we going to get another corner? Probably not this year. Probably next offseason they're going to go corner hunting. Now, Marshon Lattimore is under contract for 2 more seasons after this year, so he's your number 1 corner for a while. But next season, I think they're going to want to keep Mike Sainristil in the slot. I don't think they're going to keep him outside, so I think it's going to be very important for them either A, in free agency, B, in the draft, or C, potentially even getting guys both free agency and the draft to replenish this cornerback room. Marshon and Mike are going to be the 2 kind of cornerstones now. You just need that final piece to really complete this unit for years to come. And I think that's going to come in the form, most likely in the form of a free agent. All right, because this team is a win-now team. And I think that they're going to want to get a veteran in there because Sainristil's kind of the young buck in here. Marshon's your true number 1 on the outside. And I think they're going to want to get a true, legit number 2 corner on the outside in free agency. That's my best guess at this point. So make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. If you want to make the playoffs here in Washington, we haven't been there in a while since the Alex Smith season when the NFC East was just so terrible. And then, I think it was Taylor Heineke at home nearly knocks off the eventual Super Bowl champion in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all the way back in 2020. So hopefully the Commanders will get into the NFC playoff picture this year. Sitting at 8-5, they're certainly in a good spot right now. So click that thumbs up icon if you want to make the postseason. All right, we got one from Commanders Prod. Says, what are your thoughts on the transfer portal system in college? I think that it's starting to show here, Commanders Prod, that it's very messy. People are moving every year, and, it's hard for these teams to really build a program. All right, it's all about building a team season by season now instead of planning for the future in college football. And really, you are really forced to play freshman players if you want to keep them around. All right, plain simply, if you have a freshman player that's a good player and say you're a big-time program and you don't play them in year 1 or you don't play them a whole lot, or if they don't have success in year 1, they're going to want to leave. And, it's a lot different from older college systems. And honestly, I think it's worse for players because they have to learn new systems every single year. They don't develop. They don't really grow within one system. And I think that hurts their development as they get ready for the National Football League. I think it forces coaches to dumb things down. And I think because of that, you don't see as much high-level football players and football minds in college and even in the National Football League now. So, I think the transfer portal stuff, it's fine. NIL stuff, players are getting paid now, and, people can make money off their name, image, and likeness. I think that's all good stuff. But I also think there's a negative element to this as well that doesn't really help the development of the character and the football character of these players. And I think that's kind of the downside to this whole new era of college football. So we got one from Walmart here. It says, do you believe the Commanders will be legit Super Bowl contenders next year after another offseason? I've been saying for a long time, guys, I think this team is another offseason away from really being dangerous. Now, this year, they're already pretty good. We've seen the numbers this year, especially on offense. Like, Jayden Daniels is a future star in this league. Like, next year is kind of like that second-year leap year. We've seen guys like Lamar Jackson. We've seen guys like Patrick Mahomes. We've seen guys all throughout NFL history kind of come out in their second year and really start balling out. I think Jayden Daniels is really set up well to have that second-year boom kind of season where he could potentially even win league MVP. It wouldn't shock me at all if he won MVP next year. And if that's the case, and you revamp this offensive line even more, you get him a couple more receiving weapons, you get another corner, you get another edge rusher, whatever the case may be, and you make this team better after another offseason. Remember, the Commanders have a lot of cap space next year, so they're going to be buyers next year in free agency, and then they still have a whole nother draft to get to as well. I think next year is really the year where things are going to be kicking in gear. It's the year 2 of Dan Quinn's system and culture. It's year 2 of Jayden Daniels where he feels really comfortable as an NFL quarterback. And I think that next year is really the year, especially if they make the playoffs this year and they kind of get Jayden's kind of playoff yips out of the way this season. I really think the Commanders are going to be dangerous next season, and they might, who knows, even be hoisting their next Lombardi trophy in the 2025 season. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Will the Commanders be a top 2 seed in the NFC next year? So not only does that mean you have to win the division, but you have to be among the top 2 teams in the entire conference next year. Do the Commanders get that done? Simply give me a yes or no down there in the comment section. And again, guys, don't forget to put your reasoning. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We've made it to the end of today's and this week's Commanders Mailbag. Thank you for all the great questions that you guys have put in this week. And again, if you want to get a future question on a future edition of the Commanders Report Mailbag, click that subscribe button and join us for our live shows every Wednesday evening to get your questions on the show.